I remember they used to have wrestling matches too at the stadium up there at the ball field. And we used to go in up there and watch them. And I remember one night there was a guy, a new up and coming wrestler. He was a blonde-headed man by the name of Ric Flair. Nobody ever heard of Ric Flair back then. And the wrestlers, they drove their own cars up there. And Ric Flair had a big black Cadillac. And he had a duffel bag, leather duffel bag about the size of one of these little doctor bags. And they went up in the football locker room and changed, and he was wrestling a guy named Wahoo McDaniel. And that was when he was just getting started. And the high school had a bell, looked like a Liberty Bell, that was, they'd strike that bell when they had the homecoming game. And when us kids, when they wanted the bell moved, they'd get about 6 of us kids and we'd drag that thing, and it was heavy as heck. And, you know, as part of the wrestling entertainment, the skit, I'll never forget Ric Flair picked that bell up and threw it at Wahoo McDaniel. And that was a heavy bell. And so afterwards, when he went back in there, and I guess they took a shower and changed back in their clothes, and he had a black pair of dress pants on, black shoes, and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. And we spoke to him, and he had his doctor bag, and he was getting ready to get in his car, and he shook our hands, and he said, "Appreciate you all coming out." And that was the first introduction to Ric Flair. The nature boy, as he later became.
Woo.
Yep. I only went to a couple of wrestling matches. It was so funny that the people that you would see there that would get really, really worked up. And by and large, there would always be some old woman there that was mild-mannered as a church mouse until wrestling came to town. And then you never heard the lack of language that come out of that poor woman's mouth in your life. I mean, she might be 60 or 70, 80 years old, but she'd cuss a sailor under the table. And some of them, it would even be, their family members would take them and they'd be in a wheelchair. And man, if the wrestler that they didn't like came out there, they'd cuss him up one side and down the other for everything he was worth. And you'd think, that woman's got to be demon possessed, because what would make that woman that some of them even teach you Sunday school. I mean, you never heard such words, such language. And they would get right up there to the wrestling ring and cuss them for everything they was worth. And they'd tell them, "Come down out of here. You know, I'll peel your head."
People were serious about that.
They were serious about that stuff. Little old mild-mannered lady sitting there knitting during the week. And if wrestling came to town, holy ghost. If she could have got her hands on him, she'd done everything she could to kill that opponent.
Wrestling was serious.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you mention that, it might be fake.
Oh, you tell them that it's not real, it's entertainment, and they'll cuss you.
Yeah.
I had an uncle who used to watch it. And he'd sit there in front of the television and move and jerk and wiggle every time they'd want to throw the oven. And he'd And one of them would put a hold on him, and he'd be, "Arr, arr." And you knew, even as a kid, that if a man 6'2", 240 pounds fell on your leg, it'd break it. And they'd fell on it 10 times, and the guy got up and walked around. You know. But you don't tell Grandma that wrestling's not real, or she'll spend the rest of her days on Earth getting you back for that one.